Three, two, one, live. We all set? All right. Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is our chat with the chief session for now. The picture's gone. Is that okay? This is our chat with the chief session for January, the first one of 2026. So let me start out by saying Happy New Year to each and every one of you that logs in today. Before I go much further, though, I am going to ask if anyone is logged on yet. Would you just please let us know how if we're coming across okay audibly, if we sound all right, and visually if the picture looks okay. I would greatly appreciate that. I'm excited. Man, we got through. We had a phenomenal 2025. I am excited for 2026, and we're off to a great start by the grace of God. Right, we've been so blessed in this department in our community. We just had our weekend of service as we celebrated Martin Luther King and his contributions to our country, civil rights movement, and we did some of that with service yesterday. So I'll talk about that. A graduation coming up. We'll talk about crime data and crime numbers. We'll talk about things that we're doing with our goals as we move forward in February. We'll talk a little bit about some achievements we had in 2025 as we close that out, and now we move in to 2026. So usually what we do here is what I try to do is I'll try to hit every single post that comes in. In this session, we're going to be together for about an hour. So Matt will be helping me out today. If I miss a post, you may hear me ask Matt to scroll back up or scroll back down. I will tell you if I miss one, charge it to my heart. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'll try to address each and every question. I know there's a lot of things going on around the country right now, and some things that are affecting some other jurisdictions. I'm never going to comment on compare us to other departments. I wouldn't want other departments to do that with us, but some of the topics may be very relevant that we'll have some discussion about. So if you have a comment, if you have a question, I'm open to talking about just about anything. If you ask a question about a currently an ongoing case, I'm not going to do anything or put anything out over the air that could hurt any of the investigations that are ongoing or litigations or the courtroom procedures or anything like that. But I can talk at a 50-foot level to tell you that there's been progress or there hasn't been much, or hey, this is what we're doing or what we're looking for. So first, let me see what we got on and make sure that we sound okay and look okay. So Keith, my friend, it's good to have you here today. I hope you are doing well, and Happy New Year to you. Keith says sounds good, picture good, just a bit dark. Okay, all right. Chris Bowman, outstanding. Thank you, my friend. Happy New Year to you. Thank you for being here. Happy New Year. Have a great holiday season. Keith, thanks. Crystal, looking good. Sounds good. Crystal, Keith said it looks a little dark. Does it look okay to you, or Matt? Does it look okay from what you're seeing? So, Keith, I could get a little glare off the top of my head if I bent down, but I'm trying to hold that back. But so very good. So first, what I try to start out with in these conversations is just an update of where we're at. So I can't really do that without talking about closing out 2025. And here we are. Today's the 19th to 20th of January, as we just a couple weeks into the new year. So let's talk about 2025. So just a couple weeks ago, myself and the mayor did a short press briefing just on the results of 2025, and we talked a lot primarily, and what we focus on the most is our violent crime, right? And when we hit that category, I'm really looking at our shootings and our homicides. And let me just put this disclaimer out right now. I know I say it, and I don't want it to be cliche, but I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I look at data daily. This morning, and the first thing that was on my desk when I walked in was the crime report for the week. That also covers where we are for the year. When I look at those data points, when I look at that evidence-based statistics, if you will, data, those numbers represent incidents and they represent people. So when I talk about how many homicides we had in 2025, those numbers are people, and I don't lose that. That's not lost on me. The number of shootings that we had, the number of juveniles that suffered gunshot wounds, the crime up, down. But the reason I look at that statistic is that tells me what areas we need to focus on. If our strategies are in place and we're seeing a decrease in crime, then we need to double down on those strategies. If those strategies are in place and we're seeing an increase in crime, then we got to be able to take a step back, evaluate ourselves, and tweak some things. And we want to look at a picture holistically. We're probably going to talk a little bit about technology. I had a nice phone call this morning from a reporter that wanted to talk a little bit about technology. So we'll talk about that. And one of the things we talked about was open and transparency. So I think that's important. So let's talk about data first in 2025 as we close out. So like I said, myself and the mayor did a press briefing or press conference, if you will, just a couple weeks ago. We cut our homicide rate by 50% in 2024, and we cut it another 21% last year based off of 2024, based off of 2023. So our homicide rates went down 50% from 2023 to 2024, and another 20%, 21% actually, from 2025 comparing to 2024, right? So at 2026, we'll be looking at our goals of what we're striving to do. So our homicide rate had dropped. Also, our shootings, non-fatal shootings, where someone suffered a gunshot wound to their arm, their leg, their foot, if you will, we've seen a reduction in our overall shootings over the last 4 years. 2023, 24, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Our shootings have dropped. And we'll talk about why that is, or why one of the reasons that I think. There's multiple factors, but one of the key things I think we're doing in the police department, this played a big role in that. So we ended last year with 18 homicides. That's one of the lowest years we've had unless you go back into the 70s. I remember in 2016, just looking at this chart for the last 10 years, we had 120 individuals in 2016 that suffered gunshot wounds. In 2025, the number was like 48. Now, I know things can happen. There's all kinds of factors, but what I'm looking at is, are we on the right course? I want to look at big picture. Where have we come over the last 10 years? Then I'm going to narrow it down a little bit, and we look at our strategies. How do we look over the last 5? What things change? But technology and things change so fast today. I'm really focusing our strategy, our deployment, our strategies, if you will, on what happens over the last 3 years. So this February, we will sit down. Every single division in our department will sit down, and we will talk about what our goals are, what their goals are for 2026. What's our clearance rate goal? What's our violent crime goal? What number do we want to try to stay under? I want to stay under the 5-year average. I want to stay under the 3-year average. What do we want to do in recruiting? What do we want to do here in media relations? How many followers do we want to have on social media? How many people what's our percentage we want to make sure graduates the academy? And those numbers will collectively do our department overall goals and strategies. I think that's important. Now, if we don't hit those, we don't hit them. But what it does is it forces us to look at them daily, weekly, monthly, and gives us something to strive for. If we don't have goals set out, we're kind of just coming to work and was that good, not good, we're not measuring it. If you don't measure things, it's really, really hard to manage it, right? Or did I get it backwards? If you don't have measures, you can't manage it. Is that good? Well, I don't know. Well, we were trying to do 5 and we have 4. Is it, or we have 7? But I want from the chief to the newest recruit who graduates to know what our goals are in this organization. That's important. So we've had this is a second year in a row. God completely blessed this department in 2025. I want to thank all the faith leaders and the citizens who called in and texted and sent emails and social media posts about they're praying for the officers here. They're praying for the department. That means a lot. I'm very, very appreciative. I saw my friends across the water, Chief Newdigate. They had some great reductions in Virginia Beach. I saw Chief Bowie's report, my friend over in Suffolk, talking about crime reduction goals that they had and achievements that they had this year. They had good years. We have strong partnerships with all the 7 cities here. Appreciate the partnership that we have with Hampton and Chief Weidman, and just all of that matters, right? It goes such a long way as crime doesn't really know boundaries. I'll be calling and talking with Chief Jenkins later today as we set up our regional chiefs meeting coming up. So that's important. We just had our use of force review board last week. We had members of the NAACP that sat on that board as we look at how do we make this department better. It's the same thing when we do our goals. How do we make our department better? How do we continue to push? What's working well? What do we need to change? What's working well in other jurisdictions that we might be able to adopt and tweak? And what are we learning from other jurisdictions? Hey, we don't want that to happen here, or we don't want to do that here, right? We learn from each other, whether it's looking at investing in technology, whether it's new training, whether it's how long our academy lasts, what are we doing at in-service, what are we focusing on? All of those things come into play. But I just wanted to start out with the first few minutes just talking about the crime reduction. Crime was down 7-8% overall in the city, but we had really, really huge reductions in non-fatal shootings and in our homicides. Now, last thing about crime data, and then we're moving on. As I know I got some Terry, it's good to see you. Debbie, thanks for being here. Kayla, oh, my friend, very good. David, thank you, my friend. Last thing is clearance rate. So what's a clearance rate? So when a crime happens, the FBI, it doesn't matter what type of law enforcement, whether it's sheriffs, police, whatever, crime data is submitted to the FBI, and the FBI says this is the average of cases that should be solved. This is the average of cases that should be cleared. And it's kind of broke down into 3 categories, maybe 4. There's smaller jurisdictions, mid-sized cities where we fall, and larger jurisdictions. That's Chicago, Detroit, Los Angeles, right? And then there's the overall average. Our goal here in this police department is always to be above the average for cities our size and above the average, the national average, which is everything combined. And I will tell you, from homicides, aggravated assault, robberies, burglaries, auto theft, we were above the national average in every category last year, and we were above the national average in cities our size last year. And that's important. That prevents other crimes from occurring. The quicker we solve a non-fatal shooting deters or plays a role in lessening the probability of that individual retaliating, right? To hold people accountable. That we get information to our interrupters in our community, and working with our nonprofits, some grassroots organizations, with our overall strategic goal of our city. Those things all play into effect. But policing is just a portion. It's just a piece of a puzzle of all the things that come together to reduce crime. So I'm happy with where things ended up, but we still lost 18 individuals in our city. We still had 48 individuals who suffered gunshot wounds. Now, those are both down for the last 2 and 3 years. So we're moving the right direction. And I wish that we get to a perfect place where we had 0 and 0. But we continue to strive. We continue to move forward. But my heart goes out to individuals who lost loved ones, who lost family members, individuals who were injured by gunfire in our city. But 2024 and 2025 were huge wins for us, very, very successful. I don't want to lose sight of that, but I also know that we have a lot of work to do. So that just kind of covers. Matt, I'm going to ask you to scroll back to the top. I'm just going to roll through and say some hellos again. I got Keith. I got Crystal. Thank you. Miss Purnell. Hey, how are you? Thanks for being here today. I appreciate you. Dave, thank you, my friend. Is it wait a minute, Dave? Kayla, I hope things are going well in school. I'm so proud of you out there. So proud of you. Terry Branch, thanks for being here. I appreciate that. Thanks for all you do. I was just talking about you and some of the members of our NAACP to a reporter talking about, how the technology that we bring into the department, how does the community respond? And I talked about how open and transparent and what that technology is for, not being Big Brother, but to solve crime and keep our community safe, and being open and transparent about what technology we have and how we use it. And I talked about some individuals that have went through our simulator at the academy, that sit on our use of force review board and see the videos, the body-worn camera, all those things, how it plays a role. And they were just so impressed with the partnerships and the communication. So just want to say thank you for that. Debbie, hi there, Chief. Glad to see you. It's freezing out. Stay warm. And say, Debbie, let me tell you, I know it's cold. I was at the food bank with a group of the chiefs and the recruits yesterday. I walked in a parade on Sunday afternoon. It was wet and cold. I mean, we had a good time, but I'll tell you what, it was cold for sure. But it was a good time and good event. So I'm going to do my best. Is it? Let's see. Kirby. Hey. I'm sorry. Hey, big. What is? Hey, big guys. What is that?
Mm-hmm.
Keep up the good work. Well, I appreciate that, my friend. I hope you're doing well and the family as well. Please be safe. Skip Blanchard. Oh my gosh, there's a blast from the past. Should I even read this, Matt? Um, Skip, a longtime police officer here, one of the nicest officers you could ever run into, cared about community and youth. I ain't even read his statement yet, so I don't know what he's going to say. So let's take a look. Hello, Chief Drew. Great seeing you live today. Happy New Year's. Wishing you a great Facebook Live from your favorite retired Newport news officer, waving from the other side. Well, Skip, I appreciate that, man. Happy New Year to you and your wife, your family. I know you're continuing some things over there across the water. I appreciate everything you did here, and we got to get together and do lunch, man. But hope you're doing well and keep the community safe over there. And I thank you for your years of dedication and service, not only to our community here, but also the officers that you invested yourself in. I know we had a lot of, at the high school football games, we'd have a lot of conversation about that. And very, very thankful, my friend. I wish you the best. David, I appreciate the analytical and scientific approach to the abolishment of qualified. What's he say? Wait, did it run?
It jumped.
It jumped.
There you go.
Oh, Dave. Yeah, I got okay. My fault, Dave. I'm going to read it again. I appreciate the analytical and scientific approach to policing. Keep up the great work, David. I appreciate that. You know, there was a couple things that I've seen going on in other jurisdictions. Had some conversations over the weekend, and my intent today is just to sit down with the assistant chiefs a little bit and just kind of talk about some things. How do we become more 21st century, if you will, right? I was talking to my friend in internal affairs today, and I think today, you know, I always kind of quote 1985. In 1985, you know, you arrested the individual who committed the crime. I think today in the 21st century, they still want people still expect us to arrest the individual who committed the crime, but how we make that arrest, how we treat someone during that arrest, is so much more looked at, and we've learned that through our use of force review board. Is most of the issues where we use force, baton or taser or physical force or strike technique, most of the comments come after, you know, hey, the officer was very, very patient, or why did the officer say that, or did the officer really need to say that? And you learn so much from what citizens look at. And again, that whole process is how do we become better. So, Dave, I couldn't agree with you more. Keith, so with all of that out of the way, let me be the first one to put you on the proverbial spot. What are your thoughts on some of the proposed litigation coming out of the state legislation geared toward law enforcement, either the abolishment of qualified immunity, making facial covering illegal, possibly making tasers illegal? Just curious on what your thoughts are. Well, I will tell you. I will tell you that's a lot. You unloaded a lot there. So I have a lot of faith in our lawmakers. You know, I think we ask officers to do a hard job. Everybody wants crime reduction, but again, I think it kind of goes back, Keith, what I was saying is how do we do it? You know, when we use our taser, are we deploying it correctly? Strong policies and procedures and training, evaluating that, how we do. You know, my hope would be that any changes in law enforcement, that there would be a good discussion. I think that's what we can all hope for, a good, fair discussion. And if you add things, what are the benefits? What are the pros? What are the cons? And if you take things away, what are the pros? What are the cons? I think this is a hard profession. I think for the most part, men and women get into this profession for the right reasons, that they care about other people. They want to do the right things. They want to make a difference. I will tell you, in Newport News, I interview each and every recruit who joins the department, the final phase. And I ask them two questions. Why do you want to get into law enforcement? And they give me, right? And then I ask, why do you want to do it here in Newport News? And what routinely I'm hearing is, we see what you do in the community, we see the outreach, see how you focus on youth, the technology you have, and the training. So my hope is that we're always looking at law enforcement about how to do it better. And my second would be that whatever changes or tweaks are made, that there's good discussion behind it, not just to do it because it's the flavor of the month or because it sounds good, but how to have sound people at the table on both sides or even in the middle, and talk things through. And if we do this, what are the impacts? And if we don't do that, what are the impacts? And what are the pros? What are the cons? And work through it. So I will tell you this, Keith, in our profession, what we do is we're not getting on jumping on sides of the political issues. We're trying to serve our citizens, hold individuals who commit crimes, especially violent crimes, accountable, also holding ourselves accountable. I think technology plays a big role. I know that a lot of people have questions about technology, but what I found is having those discussions, like I had this morning with a reporter about certain technologies. It went from a lot of questions to, hey, that makes sense. I understand. I didn't look at it that way. So I think that is really the best way. And then we kind of see how things shuffle out and fall from there. But I have faith in the big picture of what we're trying to do, and I want to whatever strategies and training and technology. I just think we have to be open and transparent about that. I think we have to admit that we don't always get it right, that we make mistakes, and we try to do better. I think we have to hold ourselves accountable, have strong policies and procedures in place, strong audits in place. So yeah, I hope that, I know there's a lot. I have not heard all of them, Keith. I have read some of them, but I think we just have to take a look at that and just bring the right people to the table and have discussion. I think that's how we get better, but not just, hey, this sounds good and let's put it out there. How does it affect the men and women who do the job? I think for us, at least here in Newport News, recruiting is up. We are almost fully staffed. We're authorized about 484 officers. I'd like to see us to get to 500. We're about 30 people short right now. We have 17 in the academy that graduate on Friday. We have another 15 that graduate in May, and the academy we're putting in February should have 21. So if we're down 30, 21, so that leaves us down about 9, and we already have 9 individuals in background for the academy we would start in June. So we're bringing people in. People are wanting to do the job, and I think they come to departments for their culture, where they're supported. I'm very thankful for our mayor, our elected officials, our city management that support this police department. I also think it's vital, the foundation when you talk about community policing, that you've got to have relationships with the community. You've got to have them behind you. And how do you get that? I believe by training, technology, being open and transparent, having good discussions. We're not always going to agree, admitting that if we get something wrong, and I think that starts with me as the chief. I'm telling you now that we don't always get it right. I apologize right now to citizens that we may said something out of the way that we didn't need to, that we are demeanor issues, right? But I will tell you, there are so many layers of review and processing to make sure that we're evaluating ourselves, that internal affairs is looking at our organizations. I think we do a good job of that. I think we do, for the most part, a good job of that in law enforcement. But I think we got to continue to have those discussions. So, that's the taser. Okay, Shannon, Chief Drew needs his glasses. Shannon, I'm doing good. I'm hitting all these today. They got me all lit up here like a Christmas tree. If you ever see the studio, there's like lights everywhere. They even do like red and blue. So they do blind me a little bit when I look right at them. So staying focused on this little blue dot. But I appreciate that. Thanks for the heads up. Ms. Shabazz, good morning, Chief. Good afternoon, Chief Drew. I need to meet you soon. Please let me know when you have time. Thank you. Ms. Shabazz, look forward to it. Yeah, we'll work out a time. Our big thing for me this week is that graduation. On the graduation week, we have our graduation on Friday. I'm kind of on edge right now because they're taking the final test. If you didn't know, all the recruits have to take a state exam, finalized just like high school, right? You take that final exam to pass the DCJS, Department of Criminal Justice Services standards. Then I get to go have just a one-on-one with the class. So they hear directly from me. And I've met with them and talked to them, but they're going to hear directly from me some advice, some encouragement as we move forward. We'll have a great ceremony on Friday up at Calvary Chapel. All of you are invited. It is a great service. It's a city event in our city. I'm really looking forward to people coming out and interacting with these newest officers. Ms. Shabazz, you like this. We have about 30 young adult police commissioners. Half of that class of the commissioners, right, high school students, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior from each high school, this week will sit in a room with the new recruits and they will have a discussion. We did the other half about 2 weeks ago, and we'll do the other group, the other high school kids this week, and they will talk to these recruits. And I'm telling you, it is amazing. About the 45-minute mark, you're hearing high school kids say, and I'll ask the question, what do you want from the newest officers? And they'll say, we want you to treat us with respect. Don't judge us by where we live. Don't judge us by some interaction you've had with another youth. If we wave to you, and believe me, if we wave to you, we want you to wave us back. Talk to us, interact with us. And then I ask these recruits, what do you want from the community and youth today? And you know what they say? Don't judge us by some interaction you saw on television. Don't judge us by some interaction you had with another police officer. If we wave to you, wave back and treat us with respect and talk to us. I'm telling you, when they get to that point, they want the same thing. That's how you change things. It is amazing conversations in there, and I really look forward to that. So, yeah, we'll certainly get together. Let me get through this week. I get to meet the recruits' parents, right? And I looked at the list. So there's 17 graduating. We've got people coming from, I think 3 people are here from outside the country of the United States. We have another 8 or 9 that are from all over. We have here local. We even have one from Gloucester. So I'm excited. It is just a very, very diverse class. I think we have one of the most diverse departments in the state of Virginia. And when I say diverse, I'm not just talking in race. I'm talking background, culture, experience, where they come from. It's just I'm really, really excited, and I think that's why when we have our graduations, it's a city event here, and I invite all of our citizens to come out. It's 10 o'clock Friday morning at Calvary Chapel in the north end of the city, and I'm just really, really excited. If you can't tell, and by the way, we have a high school student who will give remarks to our graduating seniors. I don't know if you'll see that anywhere else in the country. A high school student will give remarks and advice, encouragement to 17 individuals who are graduating and will be patrolling our community. So, yeah. Am I at Ann or?
Yes.
Ann, hello. Nice to see you. Hear from you. Keep up the good work. Ann, thank you. It means a lot. I appreciate that. Joseph, I hate seeing the Glock cameras around. How do we know our privacy is not being violated? Joseph, I'm going to assume you mean Flock. Actually just had a conversation about that today, and let me just tell you this, my friend, from Steve, right? I greatly respect the privacy people have. Our contract with Flock, they do not release any information without unless we authorize it. It's saved for an X amount number of days. The reason we use Flock cameras, the reason we use gunshot detection, the reason that we have a real-time crime center, the reason that we deploy technology, the reason that we look at individuals who use fake names and make threats against schools or individuals, the reason we look at social media when individuals are posting firearms, all of it is to protect the citizens of our city. I'm not interested in Big Brother, and I'm not interested in what they're serving in a cafeteria for school, but God forbid there's someone in a school who's committing a violent act that we know exactly, we're able to flip a switch and know exactly where that individual is. Or if someone drops someone off at the hospital that's overdosed on fentanyl and leaves them in the parking lot, that we know what vehicle they got out of. Doesn't mean anyone's guilty, but at least starts us knocking on the door and having a conversation. So your question is, how do we know that our privacy isn't violated? Here's how. Strong policy and procedures in being open and transparent and doing random and scheduled audits. Strong policy and procedures about what an officer can look at. So it's not just flipping a switch and I want to look at a Flock camera. What vehicle drove this street? Who was at this location? Why am I asking 7-Eleven to see their video footage of a fight that happened outside? Why am I asking someone's Ring camera about an incident that happened across the street? It is all about keeping our community safe. But it's policies and procedures that are in place of who, what, where, when, why, and how. Right? So when we log into those systems, who is the officer that logged in? What time did they log in? What was the reason? And it can't just be investigation, follow-up, right? There was a shooting at this location. This vehicle was identified leaving the scene. There was only 2 numbers in the license plate given. We want to see if there's any vehicles in that same time frame that were at this location. It doesn't mean that the blue truck with just XL is the person that fired. It doesn't mean that anyone's being arrested, but it does mean that if we can find that vehicle, I would like to knock on a door and ask the individual driving that vehicle, or if they knew who was driving that vehicle or where their vehicle was at a particular time frame. That's important. When we have gunshot detection, I can't tell you, sir, when I bet I can think of at least 5 times when there's been a shooting over the last 3 or 4 years, and no one's called. No one called, and if it wasn't for gunshot detection, our officers would not have known where to go, where to get out, walk, and at least 3 people that I know of that suffered gunshot wounds that I believe we saved their lives. That if we hadn't have found them, they might have lost their life. Or individuals, or evidence, right, that is 4 rounds were fired, and those casings, we want to go back and find those shell casings. It might link to another shooting. It might prevent a retaliation shooting. It might have a fingerprint on it of an individual who's committing a violent act in our city. That's why it's all about safety, policies and procedures, training of our officers who use that equipment, internal affairs doing random audits and audits weekly on are we following policy and procedure, are we doing the right thing, and staying on top of that, being open and transparent. Several of our council members have looked at our real-time crime center. The NAACP serves on our use of force review board. They've come in and looked at our real-time crime center and technology. Ms. Brooks, the president of the NAACP, has gone through our training simulator at the academy, seeing how this technology all comes into play, and it's having strong measures in place to make sure that we're not violating. I don't want to violate the trust of our community. Now, someone may disagree. That's okay, but I don't want people to ever feel like, oh, it's a Big Brother type thing. And sometimes when incidents happen in a community, a neighborhood, I'll say these last 2 things. Sometimes people are afraid, and Miss Jones, our Commonwealth attorney, was just on here. Sometimes people are afraid to come to court because we ask them to come to court and testify, and then they still live in that area or that community where this incident happened. But if we have technology that a jury sees, that a judge sees, that a prosecuting attorney or a defense attorney, and it's one of the first things that each of those entities ask, it might encourage or it might even prevent someone from having to come forward and testifying and being afraid. I was at a city meeting about 2 weeks ago, maybe 2.5 weeks ago, and an individual asked the very same question that you brought up. So it's a group of citizens, maybe 30, 40 citizens, and a second citizen said, I have a business and copper piping was stolen. And if it wasn't for cameras that caught the individual in the vehicle with the copper piping that drove off, it would have cost me my business. It would have taken me so much longer to get it replaced, the cost, how long it would be shut down, and individuals in that room clapped. So I think your question is extremely, extremely important, but I think it's about, again, kind of what I was talking with Keith, sitting down and having the conversations, not just assuming that, oh, it's Big Brother, and I think your question is very, very valid. How do we make sure, I hope I've laid out some of those things and I'll continue to have those conversations and being open and transparent, but I think it keeps our community safe. Who is the individual that did this or did that? And it doesn't mean that anyone's guilty, but it gives us a start point of the knocking on doors and asking questions, collecting evidence for a full picture of what happened. The thing I want more than anything in the world is to keep our citizens safe. That's a great question, my friend. Thank you for that. Ms. Shabazz, that part.
She was the
Oh, okay. Sarah, Christian Lord, okay. Joe, I know. Joe, I will tell you, sir. I had a reporter call and ask the exact same question you asked. She was asking about that, and when we've had elected officials, even people from the General Assembly have come to our city to look at technology. The number one question they ask is what you ask. Do you have policies and procedures in place? And I'm telling you, we do, and they're strict. Very, very strict on who can look at that data. You have to have a reason to look over. But I'm telling you, Joseph, from the bottom of my heart, technology has saved lives in this city, and it has held people accountable who have taken lives from individuals in this city. And that's all I'm trying to do. That's all I'm trying to do. And I'm just checking to see that you are doing well. Thank you and all the officers for your daily watch over the city. And I appreciate that. I appreciate all you do. Hope to see you at graduation on Friday. I'm excited, looking forward to it. We got a great group of 17 officers that are going to come out and work in this city and just try to improve things and interact with our youth and make a difference. So I'm excited about this week. This is a good week. Quigley, God bless and protect our policemen everywhere. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. I can't tell you the number of pastors and just citizens and church groups that reach out, our chaplains, that just tell me daily, right, that they're praying for officers, or we saw this officer help in this situation. That goes a long way, man. I'm a man of faith. I believe, and I just really appreciate that. I do believe that makes a difference in our city and our community. So I'm thankful for that. Thank you for the faith leaders for the work that you do. When we talked about pieces of a puzzle about crime reduction, a big piece of that puzzle is our faith-based community, our faith leaders, our churches, our synagogues, our places of worship. I don't lose sight of that. I'm very thankful. Anna, Shannon agree. Yeah. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Can I get an application waiver? Application waiver for Mr. Ball. You want to join the academy, or you want to come see some of the technology, or you want to try the simulator? Let me know. We'll figure it out. Diane Lovell. Good afternoon, Miss Lovell. Thank you so much for being on today, and thank you for helping us out. I probably should have touched base. We just did some promotions so Joseph, again, when you talk about how do we make sure privacy, I want to tell you, when we do promotions in our department, we hire an outside entity to do what they call an assessment center over 3 or 4 disciplines. And then the final stage is an interview. And when I got here as the chief, it was just a final interview with the candidate and myself. Now I incorporate another assistant chief and a community member. So whether it's the president of the NAACP, vice president of the NAACP, whether it's a school teacher, individual that works with the Boys and Girls Club, someone who works in the shipyard, faith leader in our community, citizens, volunteers, to sit on that panel, right? Citizens ask different questions, much like the question, sir, that you ask. Citizens ask different questions, and I think that goes a long way. And I want our officers to know, if you want to get promoted in this organization, that we're going to be community-based. That's going to be our foundation. We're going to work and interact with our citizens and primarily our youth, right? That makes a big difference. So Ms. Lovell had helped us with some of our promotional processes. I appreciate that. And thank you for being on here today. Donna, I wish we could see video of meeting with high school and new recruits. Can we? So, Donna, I got to be careful about showing videos with students and waivers and stuff. Most of their parents have already signed that. It's an interesting. I've never really thought about opening that up. I think, Matt, did we take some pictures and video? We may put some out on our Facebook page. We did record it the last time, and I will tell you, to hear a high school student, like, we want to know more about police work. We want to interact with officers. Sometimes we're afraid to, and to hear officers say, man, we want to interact more with youth. We'd like to come up and talk to youth sometimes, but sometimes don't know if they will want us to, or if we'll embarrass them. It's just, they're so much similar. They just say it in different ways. And to be in that room, I will tell you, there will be, Matt, we're recording this, right? So I'm going to get in trouble. There will be high school kids who skip school on Friday to come see these recruits graduate. And I call Dr. Mitchell and tell her, please excuse them. They get permission, but they will miss school on Friday to come see some of these police recruits graduate. There's a high school student that's going to stand and give remarks to this graduating class. Encourage them, and also make an ask. That's important. Those things play such a huge role in how they look at life. And some of those individuals in the recruit class are not much older than our seniors in high school. But you made me think a little bit. I don't know. That's pretty interesting. I have to look at that. I have to look at that. Keith, talking about recruiting, hope you and MPD will come up to our career fair in Ashland, May 17th. All right, that's good to know. I got a head start. That's good. From 11 to 4 at Greentop again. Have a recruiter email me. Keith, I really appreciate that. I know we've been up there before. I enjoyed coming up and just kind of walking around, seeing all the different departments. We learned from some, like what are people putting in place, what are people doing that we're not doing. So I appreciate the invite, man, and it means a lot. Thank you. Sarah, it's okay. You called me back when you covered up my. So Sarah, I'll tell you, I'm not going to get into your case here, but it's just we can. Sometimes we agree to disagree, but when we make out allegate, we have to make sure that evidence supports what we're saying. And I know you may not have liked that outcome, but we have to look into things where the evidence takes us. And I appreciate the conversation. I guess we'll just have to disagree with that. But I appreciate your comments. Latrice, Chief Drew, can you please find my son's killer? I have heard an update on my son's case. I have heard an update on my son's case. I keep calling Detective Parrish, but don't call back from him. So, Miss Lewis, I will check on it today before I leave. I will tell you, I usually get a post like that every time we do these conversations, and I appreciate that, first of all. Second, let me say that I'm very, very sorry for your loss. When we talk about Joseph, if you remember, we were talking earlier about technology. I know we can never bring someone back who's lost their life, but it is important to provide closure, at least a small piece of closure, that individuals are held accountable for that. Our partnership with the Commonwealth Attorney's Office and with our neighboring jurisdictions, our federal, state, and local partners. So Ms. Lewis's post is extremely valid. Ms. Lewis, what I can tell you is please don't ever give up hope. A couple years ago, we created a cold case unit that works on cases that are older. We just made an arrest in a case from 2023, Matt, right? That some thought we would never close that case. There's 2 or 3 other cases that we could close right now. We have eyewitnesses, but they don't want to come forward and testify. Again, I wish we had some of that technology then that we have today. But please don't ever give up hope. My commitment to you is that we solve each case that we have. Some may say, Chief, that's completely unrealistic, and I get that, but we're going to continue to try. So, Ms. Lewis, I will have a conversation as soon as I leave here, as soon as I finish this session. But please, please don't give up hope, and we'll make sure that you get a call. I am so sorry for your loss. I know it's certainly hard over, any loss is hard over holiday seasons. I understand that. Just don't give up. Don't give up. And I'll look into it as soon as I leave here. Where do you, wait a minute, what, it's okay, let me just read it. Police and public safety, place it very above human trafficking, just, I know. Yeah, so Sarah, I think we've had our conversations. I'm going to go on now. If you want to call and come in and sit down again, we can have the conversation again. But I'm just not going to continue to go through it. All due respect, right? No, I'm open to have those conversations. But we've had them, and we even looked in that case multiple times. We talked with the Commonwealth Attorney multiple times. So I appreciate that, and you're certainly open to your opinion. I get it. We're not going to make everyone happy with results, but there has to be evidence to support things. Devon Kelly, praying for better days. Wait, I missed one. All right, so I'm going to do Devon, then I'll go back up to Chris. Devon, I appreciate you, my friend. It was good to see you the other day. Appreciate all you do in the community. Look forward to a great 2026. Happy New Year to you. But I really appreciate what you do, and we continue to try to do the best we can. I appreciate your partnership, what you do in the community and the street. It does make a difference, my friend. Sometimes things are hard to measure. You never know what you have prevented, but I'm telling you, you're making a difference in people's lives, and I appreciate you. Chris Joyner, Chief Drew is a very patient and strategic man, very transparent with the community, and he has to move in a certain way to get a better result. Have patience with him. He's, wow. And Chris, don't get me choked up in here. Look, I get it. Individuals who lose loved ones, who get frustrated with the system, who don't feel like the outcome is what they want. I get it. I wish that I had a crystal ball. I wish that I could slow things down, speed things up, move the clock back. I don't have that ability. All I can do is the best we can. But I'm telling you, the people of this city, the youth of this city, the men and women who do this job day in and day out, sworn and civilian both, from our dispatchers to our civilians that do the background cases, to the detectives, the investigators, the officers that are on patrol 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, those that are in the recruit class that are graduating, those that are close to retirement. People matter to me, and I think we have to continue to try to move forward. If you come, again, I want to invite you to come to graduation on Friday. There's a message that I have for the recruit class. I hope will resonate with our community. There'll be a little special message from me to them about what type of officers I want in our community, and that we care about people, that we have compassion. Does that mean we're going to get it right every time? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I don't know of anyone perfect. Well, just one, right? But I tell you, that's what we strive for, and then look for areas and ways that we continue to improve. So, Chris, I appreciate that. Nancy, we've enjoyed a quiet month with the drug prostitution house on our street empty. MPD has been instrumental in responding to the safety of our neighborhood, so thank you. Nancy, I appreciate that a lot. Sometimes it's going to, and Matt, I've responded to Sarah. I'm just going to kind of skip over those, not to blow off at any, but if she wants to come in and have a conversation, we will, but I want to make sure we get to everybody's questions. Nancy, I will tell you, sometimes when you talk to strategies, strategic, sometimes it's one thing in a neighborhood that draws attention. So I know you had a problem with a location there. Officers and detectives did an excellent job. Community also. Technology played a big role in getting rid of some of that problem that was going on at that location. So I appreciate that post. That means a lot. Thank you. Dan, how much right does a electric bike have? I see them running red lights and speed down the sidewalk. So Dan, I will tell you, if they're on the street, it's just the same as a motor vehicle. I haven't seen, I've seen more recently. Before it was kind of the scooters, but they can't cut across traffic. They can't run red lights. If they're riding a bike, man, it probably shouldn't be on the sidewalk. We're not going to chase down everyone and write tickets for that. I want them to be safe, but the same laws to apply. They can't run red lights. And it's funny you mentioned that, sir. I'm going to have to spend some time with our traffic guys, because I have seen more and more, just like in the last month. I'm like, man, how's that bike going? And the individual's not even pedaling. I've seen some around the city center, Oster Point area. And I'm like, it's an electric bike. So yeah, they still have to follow the traffic laws just like anyone else. But it's funny you mentioned that, because I have seen an uptick recently. That may be something that we're seeing. We have a regional chiefs meeting as well in February. It's either going to be in Portsmouth or back here in Newport News. And it's probably a conversation I'll bring up. I've already seen them in other jurisdictions. But I have seen an uptick in that. Wait a minute, Dave Kelly, Latrice Lewis. Oh, praying for her. Okay. And then Miss Huff. Sarah, get a friend, please. You're angry. Miss Huff, I will tell you, it's okay. Known her for a long time. It's a particular case that we've investigated multiple times. And like I said, I'm not going to keep going back and forth. Sometimes people, it's okay. Frustrations and don't agree with the outcome, but it's okay. At the end of the day, we do the best we can. We may not always agree, but I appreciate that. But it's okay. I'm not sure what news means. Okay, Keith, you said Academy graduation is Friday, 10 at Calvary Chapel. I am off. I definitely will try to be there, but I know there is a possible of snow this weekend. Got to play it by ear. Keith, it's Virginia, man. It ain't going to be that much snow. I would love to have you come to graduation. If you do, man, you got to come up and talk to me. Love to get just bend your ear a little bit, put my hand in yours, shake hands. But, man, I would love for you. It's Calvary Chapel, 10 a.m., and it really is. Our graduations are really an event in this city, so I would love for you to be there. It means a lot, and I appreciate that, buddy. Be safe with the snow, though, of course. Did I get Chris or Chris? Scroll back up a little bit. If the people in the community won't change one case law, they have to step up and cooperate with authorities. Point blank, in order to beat a monster, we have to become a monster. Well, Chris, I hear you. I understand. And when I was a newer officer, I don't understand why people stay in these situations. I don't understand why people don't come forward. But as I have matured in this profession, right? So we have a lot of new recruits. As I have matured in this profession, I've understood more and more. This may be the only thing that I know. I might be conditioned, or maybe I'm afraid to come forward because I'm afraid of retaliation, or I'm afraid of retaliation against a family member, or I'm afraid of how I'll be looked at in the community, or when officers leave, we're still here. So I understand that more and more today, but I do clearly get your point about being involved and people will only do acts in a community that a community will allow them to do. For example, and there's all kinds of ways to report crime without having to testify, right? But for example, if you have two neighborhoods, and neighborhood A, if you come here and individuals start walking around looking in cars, they're calling the police right away. In neighborhood B, you look around cars, they never call the police. Then individuals come, the next thing they're looking in door windows or in houses or garages. No one calls the police. Next thing you have some houses broken in, no one calls the police. This neighborhood is going to have an impact more with crime than the neighborhood over here that looks out for each other and is very, very engaged and involved. So I clearly get your point. I think we got to find that happy median. But yeah, sometimes it's just really, really hard. And I get that. Keith, Chesterfield Police Department just had a woman riding an electric scooter killed in a crash with a car the other night. Not much. Keith, that may have been. I saw some stuff in the news, but I have just seen electric bikes more and more. It's something that I've seen for a while, but it just seems like there's been an uptick, maybe in the last 2 or 3 weeks. I did read that in the news. Latoya, good afternoon, Chief. Happy New Year. Miss Dance, Happy New Year to you. I hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great holiday. It's 2026, and good things are coming right around the corner. That's awesome. Thanks for being here today. Sabrina, how can the Christian community better support our first responders? Sabrina, I will tell you, the number one thing I would ask for our clergy, faith leaders, right, is just to pray for the safety of our city and the safety of our citizens and the safety of the men and women who do this job. I'd ask you to pray for me for decisions, guidance, and wisdom to make the right choices and the right decisions. I can't tell you if you just joined on or if you've been here. I get updates all the time from our chaplains, churches. There's several pastors here. I just had a conversation with Pastor Swan yesterday. Just several individuals, Pastor Tony Clark, that pray for our community, they pray for our city, pray for me to have guidance. That's what would be my number one thing. I think that goes such a long way. If you see an officer, thank them for the work that they do. Have a conversation. Ask them how they're doing. I think that's a great icebreaker. I tell officers the same thing when you come in contact with whether it's a high school student or a youth. Spend time interacting with our kids in school. I think we have some of the most talented young people in the country right here in Newport News. Interact with business owners, interact with people, retirement communities. When you have those conversations, you break down barriers and you get to know people, right? And I just think that plays a huge role. But prayer would be my number one. What can clergy do is continue to pray. Kathy, Chief, do you and your team think? Oh, wait, what did it say? Chief. Oh, to you and your team, thank you for your service. Catherine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Catherine, thank you. That means a lot. That means more than anything I could put on a wall. I appreciate that. Thank you. And it's electric dirt bikes, not really bikes with pedal. Oh, okay. Amy, I got you. Okay, thank you for that. All right. Joseph, Jefferson and Walmart Way are horrible. Yes, for the electric bikes and even cars running with red lights. Jefferson between Denby and Oyster. So Oyster Point is where I have seen a lot. Bad for speeding and tailgating. Thank you, my friend. Joseph, I appreciate that. Thank you. Sarah, thank you. I'll take every prayer. Absolutely. Scrolling down. Are we caught up? So we talked about, did we talk about the weekend? Right. We were at the food bank over the weekend, had a Martin Luther King parade march on Sunday. Man, it was cold and wet. But I had a good time. We had a really good event, really good time, and then they certainly had speakers and concert music afterwards as we celebrate Dr. King. Where were we at? 12:50. Man, we're pretty good on time. I started out my day this morning getting again the crime numbers, going through some emails with my assistant Brittany. What's the week look like? Making sure we're good with the recruits. I'm excited for all you that are out there that. Feel like throwing a prayer our way. We got the recruits taking their state exam today, so I'm praying that they all do well and pass, and their families have safe travel coming in on Friday. We have a lot from outside the area, and then a lot that are homegrown right here. Again, that diversity I think matters. That plays a big role. As we'll set our goals for Friday or for February, we'll set our goals in February for 2026. We'll base them off of the last 5 years, 3-year average, and then also where we were last year at the same time frame. I can tell you so far, I know we're early on, but our crime is right now lower than it was this time in January last year. So that's going on a 3-year reduction. Now, we're early on. I know it's only a couple weeks, but we look at those numbers daily and really review them every Monday and every Thursday at our meetings. Trying to think if there's anything else in the community I want to share. I think that brings us up to speed pretty much. Like I said, the big thing, really, I'm really excited about graduation. All that talking and no one sip of Diet Mountain Dew, I'm impressed. Well, Keith, look, I know you know me pretty well, and since you put it out there, it's been driving me crazy because I got it sitting right beside me, my friend, right? I'm not a big coffee guy, but a little Diet Mountain Dew will get you through a good chat with the Chief Session. So got it right beside me. But no, I'm going to do some paperwork after this meeting. We'll be back again 6 o'clock, Matt. I think it'll be Kelly, or it'll be Kelly with me this evening. We do have our dispatchers graduating today. They have their graduation at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so that we're doing that right here at police headquarters. We're going to go down and enjoy that. I think our dispatchers are doing an amazing job. I think they really truly are the first responders. They set the tone from a call that comes in, decreasing frustration or individuals that are hyped up and trying to calm them down. And officers get hyped up too. Look, where are they at? What area, right? And the dispatcher's trying to get information. They just do an amazing job. Laura and Val and the whole team there. So I'm excited for the new dispatchers joining our profession. They mean the world to me. So I'm excited to see them graduate and meet some of their families today. Keith, I appreciate that, my friend. You have a great day. You're impressed. I got you. So listen, I guess we'll go ahead and close down here. I appreciate the comments today. Really good discussion. Chief, how do you feel about HB 1314?
State bill.
You have to help me a little bit. I don't want to. If it's a bill, I don't want to speak on the wrong one. You have to help me a little bit with that one, Mr. Jones, if you don't mind. But yeah, so I'll be back here again at 6 o'clock tonight. We'll have the session. Maybe have some new topics to touch base on. Hopefully I'll get a call about these graduates and know their final scores. They all know where they're going when they graduate. We do an NFL draft day, right, where they sit down and the captains kind of fight over who they want. So that's always fun. But it's just exciting to see them out and just new officers joining the profession, and it rejuvenates you and remembers where we all first started, right? They started their careers. So, Joseph, Mountain Dew Zero is better than that. Joseph, I've heard that. I've tried it. I don't know. I guess I just get used to this. But I've heard several people say that. I never could get into. I know I'm getting off, but this Red Bull and Monster stuff, I never could really get into that. So maybe I'm just a traditionalist. I don't know. The qualified immunity. Yeah, so I touched base on that earlier, Mr. Jones. Great. It's a very, very fair question. I think when you talk about items like that, I think you have to be very, very careful. But I think you just bring the right people to the table to have the conversation. You know, that with what are the pros and cons with whether it's qualified immunity or other things. What are the pros and what are the cons? With all of that, what's the give and take? What are the expectations? We ask our officers in this uniform or any uniform to do a very, very, very hard job. To go into situations where we deal with people, right? Not elements, not numbers, but people. And we're not always going to get that right. So I think you have things built in place to address that. And if things are so, if you're committing a crime, there are things in place already to address that. But I think it's bringing the right people to the table, having those conversations, not just doing something because it's a flavor of the month, and not just saying no to it because, oh no, we don't like that. I think you have to have the conversation and meet each other and talk about those ideas. So I'll be very, very interested to how it goes. We've had those conversations before. I think some of those things are already in place, but I'm certainly open to the conversations and see how they turn out. I think law enforcement continues to evolve, and I think at the heart of that is bringing the right people into the organizations and a heart for service. But I will tell you, sir, you know as well as I do, we don't always get that right. I make mistakes every day. I think that starts at the top, to being able to admit that and you try to do better. And you're not always going to, people aren't always going to agree, but you do the best that you can and try to find ways to improve. So certainly look forward to some of those upcoming conversations. I heard a little bit about that. Well, I want to go back to, I'm going to come back to you, Marilyn, in just a minute. I would expect a mass exodus. So I will tell you, I hope not. Recruiting is hard. People that want to give their time to serve their community is hard, is challenging. I think we just take a hard look at what we have and what does that mean. I think there are things in place already when officers do things that are criminal. And then I think you always look at intent. Due process plays. I just think we have to have the conversation. But yeah, I just think you have to have the conversation. But you make some really, really good points, my friend. I really appreciate that. Hello from San Diego. Missing Newport News. Praying for everyone and your safety. Have a wonderful day. Wow, thank you so much all the way in San Diego. You probably have a little different temperature than we do here in Newport News. It was a cold weekend here, but I hope you're doing well. Miss you too. You and your family, Happy New Year and Godspeed for this new year coming ahead. I really appreciate you chiming in today. Thelma, thank you. Afternoon to you as well. Happy New Year to you. Rob, look, Key, you talked about Mountain Dew. Now I need a drink. It's going to be hard to have the conversation when they pass the bill. Yeah, Robert, we'll see what happens. Like I said, I think you start with a conversation and go from there. And like I said, some things are already in place, and there may be need to make tweaks made. I just think you have to bring individuals to the table and have a deep dive and not just look at we think this is what should happen or that should happen. What and what are the pros, what are the cons, and then you meet somewhere. So yeah, I don't know. I always think it's good to have those conversations. I just think you also have to be cautious of how it impacts an industry or an agency and a community, who at the end of the day, that's what we're all here for, right? So I appreciate that, Robert. So good. So I want to thank everyone for joining in today. Thank you for the conversation. I know we went a little, not too bad, 103. It's not bad, Matt. I'll be back at 6 o'clock. And we'll have another conversation here. I hope people will come back. You all are invited to our graduation on Friday. It's an exciting week, an exciting day. I'd ask, please keep the recruits in mind that are taking their test today. I hope to hear some good things, but I really appreciate that. Lisa, good afternoon, Chief. Lisa, thank you. Hope you have a happy new year and hope things are going well. And Sarah, they do exist on both sides. We're not going to keep going. We got to get off this merry-go-round at some point. But I appreciate even all of you for joining in today and just having some conversations with me. God bless. Happy New Year to you. And I'll be back at 6 o'clock and hope some of you will join us then. Take care.